Hello and welcome to Danny's Garage. Today we're gonna review my Pobeda RED 12. This Pobeda watch is reference K26, but is actually commonly named RED 12. I'll let you guess why. And Pobeda in Russian means victory. And this brand was ordered by Stalin to celebrate the great victory over the fascists in 1945. This actually Pobeda watch, not exactly the same case, was the first model after the Second World War, and it was first produced in the Penza factory at the end of the war, and then at full-scale production in the first Moscow watch factory. And as this model is the first new model after the Second World War, it has actually an important place in Soviet Union watch history. When the production increased, this watch was made also in other factories. The first 800 pieces of the RED 12 were made with a silver case, and when the demand increased in 47 and 48, they were made in brass or chrome plate brass case like this one. If you look at this pre-war Omega design, it really looks like the RED 12. This K26 was featured in this catalog from 1950 or 51, and this model that I present today is dated from 1948, so it's one of the early models, and it was fully restored by a watchmaker, and actually some parts were changed in the process, so maybe it's hurt the purist out there, but you know, when a watch is old like this, it's normal to have a new part added to it during the restoration. You know, when you have, for example, 1948 Porsche 356, it will have new parts. You cannot have the same tires, the same pads, and the same exhaust. It has to be changed at a point of time. And there are three different dial versions, but the difference is very, very small, actually so small that it's really difficult to point out. See here a photo supplied by M. Rothman from the forum What You See. The difference is really in the small hands here, where the printing of indices is different. Let's look at the case and the dimension. So this one, as said in the introduction, it's a chrome plate version, and as you can see, if I put it here on my wrist, even though I have a small wrist, it's a very small watch. It's actually 29.6 millimeter or 31 millimeter with a crown. The lug to lug is 38 millimeters, and the thickness of the watch is only 9.3 millimeters. The lug opening is 16 millimeters, so it's a low, quite nice choice of strap. Actually, this strap is from AliExpress. I will let the link into the description, and I think it fits quite well the watch and is not too far from the original color that we can see in the catalog. So with this strap, the watch weighs 33 grams, and of course it has plexiglass crystal with some distortion, but not so much. The bezel is fixed, and this watch is absolutely not water resistant. So let's have a close-up on the dial. So it's fully printed with no loom. The 12 Arabic numbering in the top of the watch is printed in red, which gives a nickname to the watch, so red 12. The font chosen by Pobeda for the numeral are vintage. Actually, I like it a lot. Pobeda is written in Cyrillic, and it's the only inscription on the watch, on the dial, and there is nothing on the back. And like most of the watch of the same period, the second hand dial is a sub-dial, and it's actually very small. So the watch is small, but the sub-dial is very small. It's actually almost impossible to time something. The hands are what we call cutout hands, and they are actually, I don't know if you can see, but they are slightly blue. So on the case back there is absolutely nothing, it's just stainless steel case back. Let's look at the movement and see how this one is nicely decorated with Geneva striping. So it's typical of old Russian or Soviet movement. The more recent one doesn't have this Geneva striping. Actually, there were 3 movements in this watch, depending on the fabrication dates. So there were a Panza movement, first Moscow Watch Factory in Kirova, and a Zim movement from 1951. The K26 or caliber 2602 is based on a French pattern from the French manufacturer or watchmaker LIP, L-I-P, and LIP helped to develop this movement and also the production line. And so this movement is 18,000 beats per hour. As it's written, it's 15 joules. Here we have the stamp of the factory. Here we can see the production year and the serial number. And here we can see that there is no shock resistant. There is also no hacking in this movement, and it has 37 hours of power reserve. Here is how it looked like on my 16 centimeters wrist. Actually, in the beginning it looks very small, but I think now I'm getting used to it. And actually I like to put it at work with a white shirt. But as the watch is small and very light, it's actually very comfortable. You really forget that you have a watch on your wrist. Don't forget to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, and see you soon for other reviews.